So today, we're diving into something really personal. We're talking about the psychology of the ignored child, not the one who was mistreated, but the one who was just overlooked. Yeah, we're calling this the unseen child. And look, this isn't about the big, obvious stuff. We're talking about something way more subtle, something quiet, but with a powerful impact. It's about how emotional neglect can just echo through our entire adult lives. Wow. I mean, that quote just hits you, right? Some children aren't openly mistreated, they are simply overlooked. It really gets to the core of what we're talking about. This idea that the absence of something, that emotional attention, can shape you just as much as the presence of harm. That's a huge concept. So let me just ask you, straight up, have you ever felt that? That feeling that your emotional world is totally invisible to everyone else? Like there's this whole universe going on inside you, but it's like nobody even has a telescope? If that hits home, you're in the right place. And here's the thing, this isn't just about having some sad memories. Psychology shows us that when a child's feelings are consistently ignored, it literally, quietly shapes how their brain develops. It creates these patterns that so many of us have as adults, and we have no idea they're actually connected way back to our childhood. Okay, so how does this actually play out in real life as an adult? Well, we're going to break it down into what we're calling 5 adult echoes. Think of them as clues, almost like a psychological map that can point right back to that unseen childhood. So let's walk through the big 5. First up, this deep down belief that your feelings just don't matter. Then there's this extreme self-sufficiency. After that, a kind of emotional confusion. Number 4 is being hyper aware of everyone else. And finally, this lingering uncertainty when it comes to love. All right, let's dive into that first one, this idea that your feelings don't matter. See, when a kid's emotions get ignored over and over, their brain basically writes a piece of code, a core belief that says, my feelings aren't important. And it's not something you think about? It's just there, a program running in the background. So as an adult, what does that look like? It looks like minimizing your own pain, right? Avoiding telling people what you need, and that really uncomfortable feeling you get when you even think about asking for help. Okay, and this next one is so fascinating because it's a coping mechanism that everyone mistakes for a strength: extreme self-sufficiency. What happens is, kids who are emotionally unseen learn, hey, I gotta rely on myself. It's what psychologists call an adaptive response. It's not real independence. You just learned early on that support probably wasn't coming, so you just stopped expecting it. On the outside, you look like this rock. You're so strong. But on the inside, man, actually letting someone take care of you can feel almost impossible. And that leads right into the third echo, struggling to even understand your own emotions. Think about it. Emotional awareness isn't something you're just born with. It's a skill you practice, like learning an instrument. And you need a teacher, a caregiver, to help you learn the notes. If no one acknowledges your feelings, you never get to practice. The result? As an adult, you can feel totally confused by your own emotions. Or maybe you just go numb or shut down when things get intense. Now, this next one is a real paradox. Children who feel unseen often become absolute experts at seeing others. It's a survival skill, right? You learn to read the room, to constantly monitor the moods of people around you, just to feel safe, to stay connected. And it makes you incredibly empathetic. But there's a huge cost. You get so good at managing everyone else's emotional world that you can totally lose touch with your own. And finally, number 5. All of this, as you can imagine, really impacts our relationships. If attention and love were unpredictable when you were a kid, then love itself starts to feel, well, unreliable. So as an adult, you might be in a great relationship, but you're still questioning it. You might feel like you're easily replaceable. You keep your guard way, way up because that deep, secure connection just never felt safe to begin with. Okay, so that's the what. Those are the echoes. But now let's get into the why. What's the actual science behind all this? What's really going on inside our minds? One of the most important ideas here is something called emotional mirroring. It sounds complicated, but it's super simple. It's when a parent sees their kid as sad and says, hey, you seem sad. It's okay to feel that way. That's it. That's the mirror. That simple little interaction is how we learn that our feelings are real and they're valid. And when that's missing, our emotional growth gets stunted. It's that critical. And that lack of mirroring leads directly to the next big concept: insecure attachment. This is the pattern that gets wired into our brains when care is hit or miss. It basically creates a blueprint, a set of instructions in our mind that says, warning, relationships are unpredictable, be careful. And that blueprint, it ends up shaping how we do relationships for the rest of our lives. All right, this is huge. This is where we're going to flip the script entirely. Because what if all these things we've been talking about, what if they aren't flaws? What if we started seeing them for what they really are? Let's reframe this. Let's call it a survivor's toolkit. So let's just ask the big question that's probably been floating around in your head this whole time. All these traits, this intense independence, being so guarded, being so sensitive, are they personal flaws? Is something wrong with you? The answer, and I want you to really hear this, is absolutely not. No, they are not flaws. They are brilliant adaptations. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? Your hyper-independence is an adaptive response. You learned early that support wouldn't arrive. It's not a sign you're broken. It's a sign that you were smart enough to become your own safety net when you realized you couldn't count on one coming from anywhere else. So let's do the reframe right here, right now. That self-sufficiency, that's not a flaw. That's learned resilience. That emotional wall you put up, that's a protective shield that did its job. And that crazy sensitivity to other people's moods, that's a finely tuned survival skill. See? These are tools in your kit. They are not defects. And just understanding this, it changes everything. It's the turning point. Once you can see the pattern, once you get where it came from, that's when you can start to move forward. This knowledge is the first step. I really want this to land. What we're talking about here is just psychology describing a pattern, a very human pattern of adaptation. This has nothing to do with judging your character. This is not a list of your personal failings, not at all. And that's why this all matters so much, because understanding how your own mind works, well, that changes how you live. It gives you the power back. Self-knowledge truly is the ultimate tool. So we're going to leave you with this final thought. Now that you have this new lens, this new framework, now that you can maybe see these flaws as the brilliant adaptations they are, the real question, the powerful question is, what are you going to do next?